Hello Mallards, it is Wednesday and today I spent most of my day working on product pages and blogs for my blogging job. I actually did 4 pages today, which is good. I still have one more weekly page and then I have 10 monthly blogs that I need to do this week because I definitely didn't procrastinate them until the end of the month like I sort of have every month. They asked me recently, like the person who's in charge of me has changed because the person who was directly above me has now left the company and somebody else has taken his place. And they were like, would you like more monthly assignments? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. And it's not because I couldn't write more, because I definitely could. It's because I know myself and I procrastinate and I do them all in the final week. And if there were more of them, it would be too much. But if you give them to me as weekly assignments, like I just need to convince myself that they're weekly assignments, that like every week 4 blogs are due. And then I will do them in the month without like actually having to worry about it, because somehow like my weekly assignments, I get 7, but if my weekly assignments were 11 instead, I would still manage it in that week. So I need to just convince myself that 4 of those blogs are also weekly, but like, I don't know if you've ever tried to convince yourself out of a bad habit, but it's hard, and procrastination is my bad habit. Other than that, I watched a bit of Blindspot with Mel. We are now in the 3rd season of this show. It's gotten very crazy. So if you're unfamiliar, the show opens up with Jamie Alexander, who is the actress who played Sif in the Marvel films, crawling out of a duffel bag naked and covered in tattoos. And then it turns out that like she wiped her own memory, and all of the tattoos lead to corruption in the government. And by solving them, they end up helping this secret group that's trying to overthrow the government, right? And Jamie Alexander's character, who gets known as Jane Doe because she has no memories, used to be Remy and worked for them, and then like wiped her own memory to essentially like get into the FBI. So she starts working with the FBI. She develops a whole new personality. She becomes their friend. She decides she doesn't want to help the old organization anymore. And then at the end of season 2, they defeat them. And they like catch the leader and they stop the plot. And Mel and I were both like, but we know there are 5 seasons of this show. So what's going to happen now? And the answer is Jane's brother, Roman, who she had forgotten and then found out about and remembered, and then wiped his memory because she wanted to try and turn him good in the same way she was turned good. And then he found out that she wiped her memory and he got really, really angry, and he joined up with the bad guys who are run by their adoptive mother again and like helped try to destroy the world, and then ran away at the end of season 2. At some point in the interim there, he captured her again and covered her in totally new tattoos that like glow with bioluminescence, which is really freaking awesome. Let me tell you, I know that this is all CGI, but wow, if that was a technology that existed, I'd be all over it. Yes, cover my body in art that only shows up under very special circumstances. Like, how cool. I really love the idea of black lighting for that reason. Like, if black lighting gets a little bit safer, it's gonna be really hard for me to deny getting visible tattoos. Anyway, so now she's covered in all these new tattoos that her brother put there, and they're specifically designed to lead everybody to secrets that the team has about each other. Also, the same team is back together, but it has been 3 years in between, and like Jane and her FBI original handler, Kurt Weller, got married. And then like she ran away for a while and lived with some monks because people were after her because she had a price on her head. And I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that just like happened. But a main focus of this season has been like going back over the things that they did previously and like hashing that out. So that's been fascinating. But the things that Mel and I have discovered about this show is that people in the FBI, one, do not lock their doors. And I mean front doors, car doors, any sort of door. No one locks doors. They don't believe in that. Because the amount of times that bad guys have just like opened the door to a vehicle or opened the door to an apartment or a home or a business or whatever, like they just don't lock doors at all. None of them. The second thing we have learned is that people in the FBI are immune to explosions. Maybe I should preface that by saying named people in the FBI are immune to explosions, because like there's an explosion in this show about every other episode, and they're usually way closer to it than they should be, and they always survive. However, there was one episode where they led a whole team of FBI agents into a place where there was an explosion, and then other people died who weren't the main character, and like that was a big point of contention. But I guess that they just haven't reached whatever FBI agent level gives you immunity to explosions. And like, that's a bummer. They really should have gotten there before they went on that mission. But the amount of like absolutely ridiculous survival that happens in this has become comical to Mel and I. It's not meant to be comical. It's not played comical at all, but we think it's hilarious. There are things that are played comical that we also enjoy, and that is the character of Rich.com. He legally changed his name to that. He's exactly as annoying as you would expect him to be, but he's also perfect. And I really don't want to talk that much more about him because I get into like serious spoiler territory. Not that I haven't spoiled the whole thing, I guess. But Rich is just really, really, really fun. He is a wonderful, like, pansexual character who just says everything that's on his mind. And he's also a brilliant hacker. And he's got sort of Neil Caffrey vibes. And Mel and I do love that sort of rakish, rogue with too much sass kind of character. And appeared in one episode, and I really liked him in that one episode. And I was like, oh, man, I wish he was around more. He's really fun. And then he has now like come back several times, and it seems to be a regular player starting this season. Everybody else that I have liked in the show has died because that's the rule. If you wonder what characters are going to meet their demise in a television show, just ask me which ones are my favorite, and it probably lines up. So yeah. We're just going to talk about Blindspot and my job. And I've been on this video for 8 minutes, which is way too long. Thanks for sticking through to the end. If you did, I appreciate you. Leave me a comment or send me a text and let me know. Thanks for being awesome, and I'll see you tomorrow.